let me back up a little bit. You're aware that a tier 3 sex offender, by definition, isn't allowed to be around other children.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me why you are allowed. Sure.
Yeah, I'm fine. I thought I was all cried out.
Sure, you're on. Just find my page. Miss, I don't understand anything I'm saying. I do tend to talk fast, and then sometimes faster than I'm actually saying words. My mind goes. So if you're missing anything, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay, you stated that you started your relationship in about 2015, correct?
Roughly, yeah.
And then you moved in together in 2016?
I think so, yeah.
And your daughter was what, about 9 or 10 at the time?
I think she was about 9 when we met. I think she was 10 when we moved in. But
And at that time, did you have sole custody of her?
well, no, not full. I had primary, and her father had. There was a schedule. He didn't.
Did he ever follow it?
No.
Okay, so it was you basically at that time until you moved in with my client, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so did financially support you and?
At first I worked, and then I got pregnant with and we talked about me taking, I had a job I had a job selling toilet paper, and I didn't love it.
So you made the decision to be a mom?
Yes, we decided together that it was better if I was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, now, was there any issues with your guys' relationship when you guys moved in together, at the beginning?
What do you mean by issues?
Were there any issues with infidelity on either side?
Yes.
There was, okay, and when was that, do you remember?
Oh, dates, I'm so bad at dates. It was early on.
Would it have been after you moved in together?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Would it have been within that first year that you moved in together?
Well, the first year, I didn't actually catch him cheating. I found a bunch of stuff on his computer. He was going on Craigslist and stuff.
Okay.
But he swore it was just Craigslist. He wasn't actually meeting these people, and
So there was issues?
Yes.
There was issues, okay. And then isn't it true that you actually suggested that my client do sex, I believe it was Sex Addicts Anonymous?
Well, so
Did you suggest that to him?
I don't know who suggested it.
Okay. But it was a
After,
suggestion.
when I was pregnant, I was about 8 months pregnant, he did cheat.
Okay.
I caught him actually cheating, and I was gonna leave. I even went and had dinner with him, and I was like, this is,
Okay.
probably not gonna work out, and I didn't tell them why, because I was like, he did something bad, and I didn't tell them what he did exactly. Like, it was that point, I was gonna leave, and he told me that he was a sex addict at that point.
Okay.
He said, I'm addicted to sex, and I was like, okay.
Slow down, let me kind of put the story together for the judge. Okay, so you found out about that, do you, so was this before you guys got married?
Mm-mm.
The
The time where he went to sex rehab or sex anonymous?
Yes.
No, we were already married at that point.
You were already married at that point, okay, and you were still pregnant when he went to.
When he first
Okay.
started going in.
Now, so he went to Sex Addicts Anonymous, did you participate in any way?
I went to the spousal, so
Okay.
you don't go together. We went to the same building, but they have one for spouses or partners, significant others, and then one for the addicts.
But it was like, you had your own part of it and he had his own part of this essay. I'm gonna call it SAA for short, because it's,
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Okay.
And then, so you guys went to several sessions, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and this,
He went longer than me. I think he got, the last chip he had was his 9-month chip, I
okay,
believe.
so he went actively to SAA for a while.
For a while, yeah.
Okay, and then was born in April 2017, correct?
I'm sorry?
Was born in April 2017?
Yeah.
Okay, and did you continue any kind of SAA therapy after he was born?
I did not.
No.
No. I might have gone to one.
Okay.
after he was born.
But the two of you made the decision to stay together and be married,
Yes,
raise your child together,
yes.
and you were still living with you at the time, correct? Okay, was still living with you even when he was going to SAA, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When you found out he was a sex addict, how come you didn't leave since you had a young daughter?
I was pregnant with his son as well, and he promised me that he knew he needed, I also didn't, let me back up. He promised me that he knew he had a problem and that he would change and he would do all the right things and make it, stay in therapy, which he didn't end up staying in therapy, but I also, when you say I had a young daughter, at that point,
Ma'am, there is no question pending. You did answer what I asked you. You did answer what I asked you.
But Your Honor, she should have an opportunity to finish her answer.
Okay, are you still answering the same
yeah,
question?
well, she said, well, why didn't you leave because you had a young daughter? And I wanted to explain.
Sure, you're still, I just don't want you switching subjects, so if
Oh,
you're
yeah,
still
no.
answering the same question, that's fine.
At that point, the SA people, because that did come up in my meetings, and the SA, the lady that ran the SA told me that all sex addicts that does not make them child molesters, is what she said. She said sex addicts and child molesters are not necessarily the same thing.
Okay.
And that's a false equivalent. So that's kind of what I wanted to hear at that point, even though it turned out that it was both. She assured me that they're not always both.
Okay. And then you heard testimony by your daughter that there were good times, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. And it's actually true that you actually testified that you went to his family. You guys took vacations together to see his family, correct?
Yes.
You guys took vacations together to Indiana to see your family, correct?
Yeah, a couple
Yeah,
times.
okay. In fact, you guys did a lot of things together as a family, correct? Okay. Okay. So there were several years of good times together, correct?
It wasn't a consistent straight several years of good times. It would be, we'd have a good day, and we'd have a really bad day, or we'd have a good week and a really bad week. So it wasn't several years of consistent, but there was always, when he would misbehave and do bad things, he would always make up for it. He would always do something really nice the next day.
Okay. We're still holding off on the financials, correct? You want me to go into it?
You can, you guys can manage your time if you want to use efficiency and go into it, that's fine.
I'll push that till the end. Okay. And isn't it true that you were alone with Jason over the years?
Yes,
And isn't it true that was left alone with Jason over the years?
yes.
Okay. And you previously testified during your deposition that you used cocaine before, correct?
I tried it one time. Yes, I did.
And you testified that you did drink on occasion before, correct?
Yeah, a couple times a year.
And you heard your daughter's testimony that she had gotten in trouble for sneaking alcohol before, correct?
One time, yeah, she did get in trouble for that.
And isn't it true that she gotten caught with a vape pen a few times, a weed vape pen a few times?
I don't know. what's in her head.
Objection, foundation, speculation. I think there was no testimony from about that.
About a week, and I didn't hear any testimony
Yeah.
about that, so. Ms. Tajbakhsh, where are you going with this?
I can move on, it's fine, I can ask my client about it. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and just completely switch gears here. The current custody schedule started in October, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and my client has Friday after school till Monday morning, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you gave him additional time over Halloween to go to an event?
I did. I gave him a couple hours, I believe, on Halloween.
Okay, and you gave additional time over Christmas?
I don't know. Did I?
I think we discussed it actually at court. You guys agreed to more time, whatever it
Did we do that
was.
at court?
Do you believe that you gave him more time over Christmas?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Okay. Would it be fair if I said you did give him a little bit of extra time over Christmas?
It's What kind of, what are we talking about exactly?
Just more outside of his Friday to Monday.
What time was in like an hour? Because one time I gave
Just
him,
any additional time outside of Friday after school to Monday morning.
Objection, Your Honor, vague, ambiguous.
Sustained, I can say for the record that Dad did get some time during Christmas.
Thank you,
We
Judge.
did discuss that.
Okay.
I don't believe, that was the hearing in December where parties were at.
And isn't it true that you gave Dad additional time over spring break?
Yes.
You actually gave him, I believe, up until Wednesday morning drop off to you during spring break. So he had Friday after school to Wednesday. Okay. Isn't it true that you guys have done early drop-offs at the Freddy's sometimes to accommodate your schedule or his schedule
early drop off?
at noon as opposed to 3 o'clock?
I think that did happen a couple times.
Okay. You guys you've been very flexible with during this time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And isn't it true that you both have followed the schedule pretty well since October?
Yep.
Okay. And I believe it was, oh, Your Honor, I apologize, I never published the deposition transcript, yeah, just for the record, we don't get the sealed ones very often anymore, I just have a certified copy, and I believe since COVID, that's kind of been what we've been getting. So I'm going to hand this to the,
Okay. I
Just for-
normally receive them sealed and then we open it ourselves.
we never received the sealed copy, and I actually spoke with Ms. Rosenthal this morning, because we scrambled at the office at 6:30 this morning trying to find it, we never received one in this case.
Okay.
They just gave us the certified copy, and I believe there was an administrative order since COVID that we get the certified copies. We have been able to publish those before. It is stamped as a certified bound copy.
Not a problem.
Thank
Your Honor,
you.
for trial, you have to request them.
Yes, okay. Ms. Szyc, do you want to take a look at it to make sure?
I do,
Okay, go ahead.
because for trial, you have to request the sealed envelopes.
Yes.
And that's not, and Your Honor, that's not what my office, that's not what we've ever done, so.
Did you request a sealed copy? for
We
the
requested,
office?
yeah, all of it, I mean, all
You
of
did?
it.
Okay. All right, I'll give Ms. Szyc a chance to take a look at it.
No problem, Your
You
Honor.
can continue with your
Um,
questioning.
Thank you. Isn't it true that has never complained to you when returning from Dad's house?
Objection vague.
Complaint?
Just any kind of complaint about time with Dad?
Objection vague.
Sustained, if you want to rephrase?
So you pick up after school on Mondays, correct? And that's usually when he comes back from Dad's house. He's never complained to you about stuff that goes on at Dad's house, has he?
No.
No, okay. Has he ever complained to you about any kind of weird or inappropriate behavior by Dad?
Objection vague.
Weird or inappropriate behavior, okay. Okay. If she doesn't understand, she can ask. The answer was no, did you answer yes or no?
Yeah, no, he has, sorry, has not complained about that.
Thank you.
Has the child made any reports to the school about weird or inappropriate behavior at Dad's house?
Objection, speculation.
I didn't hear the question.
I said, Your Honor, I did say, isn't it, has the child made any reports to the school, who are mandatory reporters, about weird or inappropriate behavior at Dad's house?
And I objected to speculation.
So you can ask her to her knowledge whether she.
To your knowledge, has the child made any kind of reports to the school about weird or inappropriate behavior by Dad?
No.
Okay. Has the child ever reported to you that Dad hits him?
No.
Has the child ever reported to you that Dad touches him?
No.
Okay, has the child ever come home from Dad's house crying? And you just testified that everybody respects the current custodial schedule, correct?
Respects it as in abides by it?
Yes.
Everyone does abide by it, yes.
Okay. And isn't it true that his behavior has improved since Donna's house ended?
I don't know. It's different.
Okay, so explain how it's different.
He's very clingy. Since then, I wouldn't call that an improvement. But his school is good. I mean, he has had no issues at school.
That's not what I asked.
I'm telling you, his behavior at school is good. He's had no behavior issues at school.
The question was behaviors improved, so she's still speaking about his behavior just at school.
I was getting into the school one. You're just kind of getting ahead of me.
I'm sorry.
Okay, has Evan's grades improved as well?
I'd say they're the same.
They're the same. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't they have like a D in
No, they don't.
reading?
No, they don't do Ds for kindergarten and first graders. They do, exceeds, meets, or needs improvement.
Would you be surprised if you logged into the parent portal right now that it actually shows percentages for each subject?
They do, okay. So Lisa and I had a conversation with a teacher about this because the parent portal is apparently weird and had a weird grade in art, and we talked to the art teacher personally, and we were like, this is unusual. Like, it was not a good grade, and we were like, why? First, he loves art, and he was in kindergarten, and the art teacher was like, no. She was like, that's the way.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Don't tell me what the art teacher said. That's hearsay.
Oh, well, I was informed that parent portal, the translation from E for exceeds or meets or needs improvement, parent portal doesn't do E's. They don't do exceeds, meets, or needs improvement on parent portal. So parent portal translates that into a percentage
So do they send progress reports from the school?
all the time.
Okay, so there is a percentage somewhere, correct? So the parent portal is where you can generally log in to see how your child's doing, correct?
Yes, parent portal, yes, I would say, you could get,
Is it a benchmark to see where your child is?
It's a benchmark,
Okay,
I suppose, yeah.
okay, so his grades are much better now though this semester, correct?
He's doing very well.
You testified extensively about the guns.
Yeah.
You are aware that my client can't possess guns with his charges, correct?
I am aware of that.
Okay. And in fact, if he possesses a gun, not only will he go to prison, but it's a felony.
I didn't know that, but okay.
Okay. So he doesn't, I mean, if you're assured that there's no guns in his possession or in his house, would that alleviate that concern?
I believe the guns are at his father's.
That's not what I'm asking. I
So
said,
if-
would it alleviate your concern if that his home, if he doesn't have access to his guns?
Yeah, that would make me feel much
Okay.
better, yes.
Is the gun safe still in the house?
It is.
And is it empty?
It is.
Okay. How many guns were in the house?
Oh, I'm not sure. So originally we had one shotgun at the Eltica house, and it was unloaded. It was in the back top of the closet.
How many guns were in the house?
I mean, Your Honor, she was attempting to answer.
We're also on a time crunch here.
Okay, I'll make it really short. At one point, about, 2-3 years ago, he decided he really wanted to buy guns, and he started buying a lot of guns.
Okay.
I'm not sure how many. I'm gonna guess. and
Estimates.
say 10 to 15 that he acquired all within a year. He just started buying them.
Okay.
But that's a guess.
That's
an
fine.
estimate.
That's absolutely fine. Okay. You stated that he had road rage sometimes. That's been a consistent
Yes.
thing for you. Okay.
Yeah,
Are you aware if my client's ever been to anger management?
I don't know. Not to my knowledge.
Okay. If I told you he's been in anger management therapy, would that alleviate some of your concerns?
Are you telling me that he has been?
He's attended anger management therapy. Would that alleviate some of your concerns?
Did he finish the program?
He'll testify to it.
Okay.
But if he did, would that
If-
alleviate your
okay.
concerns?
I'm sorry, I'm asking.
No, that's
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
If he completed programs, I suppose that's not a bad thing.
Let's see. You agree that it's important for someone to be in to be in someone's life, correct?
Yes, I can't say, it is important.
And in the 7 months almost 7 months that there's been overnight visits, has been has adjusted well, correct?
Objection. Cause for speculation.
That's just her observation, Your Honor.
If she knows, she can answer, if she has the one.
I don't know if I can answer that.
Um, have you ever witnessed my client physically disciplined?
No.
Okay, and you testified that there was no domestic violence in the marriage, correct?
He just beat objects. He never hit me or the children. No, he did not.
Okay. And then you also stated that he had his hand around your neck the night that you separated, correct?
Not his hand. He had his elbow. He had me in my back.
Like just kind of pulling you?
Yeah.
Okay. You never reported that, isn't that true?
I reported to Detective Munsonware, and my mother also reported it to Detective Munsonware.
Was it a written statement?
No, I didn't write anything down. She was in the backyard, and I told her about it.
Okay. Were you ever asked to give a voluntary statement that was reported?
I gave a lot of statements to the police about a lot of things.
And
I
are you sure you reported it?
I don't think that we did so many. I don't think we did a recorded statement about that night with the violence. I think it was just in the backyard when she was interviewing me in the backyard.
Okay, so you never, when you did do the recorded statement, you never discussed that that incident?
I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong.
Okay. So you didn't call police that evening, correct?
No, I did not.
And you didn't call police the next day?
No, I did not.
You waited until Monday to contact the police, correct?
Okay.
And that, when you did make your report about the incident, you never actually reported the allegedly putting his arm around your neck.
I didn't. I'll be totally honest with you. I was really upset about that until my daughter told me that he raped her, and
Understood.
I
You answered the question, Ms.
totally, like, it was the last thing on my mind.
Move to strike, Your Honor. There's no
Your Honor, it
question.
was a responsive answer.
No,
It
it's
wasn't
a
a responsive
cross-examination.
Because the question was, you didn't respond to putting her arms around your neck, and she did respond. Now, if you're asking for yes or no answers, please let her know.
Thank you. Thank you. Have there ever been any other issues with CPS other than the one that stemmed from the incident?
No.
Okay. Ever come back from Dad's house bruised?
No,
Okay.
normal kid, nothing alarming, no.
Has someone asked you about eye condition?
Yes.
Does he ask for his medications?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did actually went to the surgery that had for his correct?
Yeah, he showed up for about 20 minutes, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is a lot of your guys' communication about medications and needs and just
All of our communication is about 100%.
And in your opinion, when you see the amount of communication that you have, is being an involved father with his medical needs?
Objection form.
Yeah, I'm not,
In her opinion, being an informed father as far as the
Involved
needs.
father.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what she means by involved.
Okay. Well, if she doesn't understand, she can say that. Do you understand the form of the question then?
You stated, so I'll back up and I'll clarify a little bit for you. So you stated there was a time that he was texting you a lot about like the insurance, or when you were in class. There was an incident where you were in class and he was messaging you a lot.
yeah, that one day, yeah.
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 And then you said there's been a couple of other times he's been short. In your opinion, when you're reading these messages, does it appear that he's just an involved father or a concerned father when he's sending these messages?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. Does it sound like he's a
Like,
concerned father? He cares.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I would say that he cares, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you don't understand the question, you just have to say that you don't understand the question.
Okay.
And during your time with schooling, does Jason call, during your time with schooling, does Jason call daily?
Almost every day. Yeah.
Okay. And do they text on the phone?
Yes.
And then during this time, are you? Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I misspoke. They don't text all that. Not great at texting. So
Okay. But they communicate.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. And then do you, in the same respect, do you call while he's with
Every day.
Okay, and do you have issues calling when he's with
No.
Okay, if you're unable to get through Sterling's phone, can you let him know?
Yes.
And does he usually have him call you?
Yes.
Okay. Have there been any issues with contact? Let me rephrase that. Have there been any issues with your ability to contact during time?
No.
Okay. And do you trust that if something is bothering he would tell you, correct?
I think you would, yeah.
Okay. And if there was some kind of emergency, you feel that you and have a good enough relationship to where he would confide in you, correct?
I hope so, yeah. But that being said, I have a great relationship with my daughter, and she hid it from me
Okay.
because she was scared to hurt
Okay.
the family. So
But if an emergency took place, you're able to contact your child, your 7-year-old, correct?
usually, I mean, they went to California one time and he didn't tell me, and
Okay.
I had to find out. So Sterling didn't tell me they're in California, and I asked him where he was and who he was with. He refused to tell me who he was with.
Okay.
What
And
third
do you
party?
remember when that happened?
Oh, I want to say, I think it was like November or December,
Okay.
but I think it was December,
Okay.
this last December.
Beginning of December, would that sound?
That's what
Kinda
I was
close?
thinking,
Okay.
yeah.
Since that time, so I'm assuming that you had a conversation with him after you found out,
Yeah, I
correct?
wasn't happy about it, and I
Understandable.
asked him who he was with, he wouldn't tell me. And
Okay.
I asked him where he was staying in California, because I
Okay.
knew where my son was, he wouldn't tell me. Well, I think he just said a hotel room.
Okay. And then after that incident, when not the dust settled, but when that cooled off just a little bit, were you guys able to talk about what your expectations are? If either of you goes out of state?
Yeah, I told him he has to let me know
Okay.
if he takes the state, and I would give him the same respect, that's still
Okay.
parenting.
Okay. And has there been any issues since then?
They've gone camping and stuff without telling me, but I don't know if they went out of state. I still don't
Okay.
know. I don't know where they went. I don't know if they went northern Nevada, I don't know.
But they recently went camping.
Yeah, I
correct?
didn't tell me.
Okay.
Again, didn't tell me, yeah.
Okay.
But that could have been, I had no idea because I was not told.
So is it your request that you're both very open with each other with regard to just going out of the jurisdiction?
Yes.
Do you have a tracker on this phone?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't know. Do you, oh, sorry.
Would that be something that might make you alleviate a little bit of your stress?
I have mixed feelings about that.
Okay.
I don't want tracking me through his phone, so
For
that
Sterling's fair.
scares me a little bit.
Okay.
However, I do recognize the need to be able to know where the child is. So but it makes me
Okay. No, that's
a little
that's fine.
uncomfortable for him to be able to track me.
That's fine. Okay. Okay. Let's indulgence, Your Honor. My apologies. I'm just gonna go back to some of your testimony. Have you stated your sister, I believe it was one of your sisters that was present at a party where you had beer, correct?
Yes.
Which sister was that?
Nova.
Nova. Have you, isn't it true that you guys didn't always have the best relationship?
Me and Nova? She's my sister. I love her. Do we
Okay.
have disagreements? Absolutely.
Okay.
You met my one, you see the dynamic in my family. I'm like the most quiet one in the whole family. Like we're loud and boisterous and yeah, we have definitely had disagreements, but I love my sister dearly and she loves me.
So was there ever a time in your guys' marriage where you didn't have any kind of like relationship with Nova because of or falling out?
Objection, this goes beyond the scope of direct examination. I'm gonna ask for the relevancy on this.
What's your offer? Miss, go ahead, Miss Tajbakhsh.
Your Honor, it just goes, I mean, there's a lot of story about what happened, her sister being upset. I mean, she's point blank, she's told my client she hates her sister Nova. So now all of a sudden we're here about her
Wait.
sister.
Okay.
But what does that have to do with any of the direct examination? That's so far beyond.
The direct examination talked about never being around mom's family, and I'm just laying the history that they've been around the family for a long time.
Okay, so I know that mom did testify that in the beginning there was with family, but towards the end of the relationship, it started to taper away from
Yes.
family. So you're trying to refute that testimony?
Yes.
Okay, I'll allow it.
Was there ever a time that you didn't have a relationship with Nova during the marriage?
I don't want to say we didn't have a relationship, but yeah, towards the end of the marriage, we didn't like her. And
But what about you and
she-
Nova?
I love Nova.
Okay.
But yes, there were times where, oh yeah, we didn't speak and there were disagreements, but it got very uncomfortable to bring her to the house and stuff. Like it got, but we would still talk on the phone on occasion. But yeah, towards the end of the marriage, yes, relationships with my family started to get a little strained. But I love my sister and I love my sister.
Okay. And then you testified during direct that you're not sure that there's conflict in your communication, correct? I'm trying to just understand your communication with just in general right now.
There has been conflict, yes.
Okay.
There's been a few times where he's,
Currently though, as it stands, are you co-parenting well?
I would say overall, it's okay.
Okay.
I got very confused on a glasses thing, and I didn't understand what he was saying to me, and I kept saying, I can't afford new glasses. I thought he wanted me to buy more glasses, and I was like, I can't afford it.
So you're it's okay, you think it's okay, it's working, you're co-parenting, okay?
Yeah, but then he got real nasty, and I had to be like, I just don't understand you.
Okay, you've answered the question as well.
Well, that was just last, couple weeks ago. so-
You heard your daughter's testimony that she said there was less food in the house since
For
the
her,
separation.
yeah.
Correct, okay.
She-
You'd previously testified during your deposition that you smoke cigarettes, are you still smoking?
I am.
Okay. How much is it usually per pack?
How much money?
Yeah,
About $10.
$10 a pack, okay. And how many packs do you usually go through a day?
A day?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're not several packs a day?
No.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
God,
okay.
No, no.
Okay, do you agree that there's less food in the house?
What meant? Okay, so
Okay, but,
the
so there's less
groceries
food.
that I buy, the judge specifically told me that I'm not allowed to feed. So a certain amount of food that she is allowed to eat that either comes from money from my mom. It's weird.
Okay, so it's because of the orders of the court then,
Yes,
correct?
and
Okay,
it's weird because I have a separate cabinet for now.
okay.
I'm not allowed to touch. Like it's weird to have a family where you divide food
Okay,
like
I
that.
don't think I've ever said you're not allowed to feed.
With Jake's money.
Ah, yes, not required to support.
Yes.
That's
So, and I took that seriously. So literally, I have cabinets on this side of the kitchen for only, and then when my mom gives me money, like my mom gave me $100 yesterday to get food. So yes, it's not free range in the kitchen anymore. There is less food for,
And 19 years old, correct?
Yes.
And she doesn't have a job still?
no, so,
It's a yes or no question, ma'am.
no,
She doesn't have a job, okay. Okay. And you did testify that when there was mean accusations on both sides for communication, my client did apologize, correct?
I did not make any mean allegations towards them ever.
Okay, but when he did apologize to you.
When I asked him to please stop being mean, yes.
And you agree that the issue of your children is a very, very stressful and very delicate situation, correct?
Extremely.
Okay. And so sometimes tensions do run high and things are said, correct?
Are you asking me to excuse his behavior?
No, I'm not asking you to excuse, I'm just saying, isn't that true, that things are said?
By him, yes, absolutely.
Or just in general, I mean, you've said things
I have
when,
filed things with the court.
I'm sorry?
I have filed things with the court that I felt the judge needed to know.
That's not what I'm asking, Ms. Hess. But,
I have not said anything, other than the very first night where I texted him and I was very
Okay.
upset.
okay,
I found out he raped my kid.
Okay.
Since then,
That's-
I have not said anything disrespectful
and I'm not
to him,
saying that you
ever.
did. I'm not saying that you did. I'm just asking the questions. You also stated that you don't want my client to have the ability to go to the dentist or the optometrist, correct?
No, I did not say I don't want him to have that ability.
You said
I
it concerns you.
It concerns me that he is even able to do that. Is he able to do that? Is he allowed? It's a children's there are only children there.
Did you hear my client's testimony that he has the permission from his probation officer, did you say?
Yes, I heard.
Okay. In fact, he actually had a birthday party with last week
Yes.
with other children.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard.
Okay.
And did his parole officer approve that, or, I don't know how this works.
My client testified that his parole officer approved it. If he didn't, I mean, my client would be facing prison time, so.
I don't know how any of this is all new to me, I'm sorry.
You did testify that my client did get a lockbox in his car for a gun, correct?
He did, yes.
Okay.
I asked him to be that.
Okay, you testified that he's left in the car. I don't remember if that had anything to do with a gun. Did that have anything to do with a gun?
Yes, because we're guns in the car.
Okay, did you ever report it?
Report it?
Yeah, did you ever make reports?
police?
Yes.
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you ever make any reports to CPS about my client's behavior other than the incident? You stated that you're not really sure what schedule you want, and you said you would like some more of your holiday times and stuff like that back. Are you suggesting that the court limit my client's time from what he has now?
Yes,
Okay. Are you going to be the one to explain this why he has less time with his dad?
yes.
Okay, and what are you going to tell him?
I'm gonna explain to him that I don't know. You know what, that's a good question, and I'm gonna talk to my therapist about it.
Your Honor, I submit. I'm sorry, I was reserved for the financial issues.
Sure, understood. Okay, so Ms. Szyc, any questions?
Yes, Your Honor, just briefly.
Sure.
Okay, you testified that there was images on computer from Craigslist. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Were any of those images of young teenage girls that you can recall?
I don't know. I don't know their ages.
In SAA and you spoke, strike that. Do you recall giving testimony about speaking to a counselor in SAA about the distinction between a person who is a sex addict and a person who is a child molester?
Yes.
Okay. And at the time that was in SAA, was it your understanding that he was having sex with young girls?
No, I did not. No.
Okay. And so
Well, younger than me, but not minor.
Okay. And so at that time, did you have a reason to be concerned about your young daughter?
No.
Okay. And counsel asked you about expanded visitation time with Jason since October. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And I believe specifically the question was Halloween, Christmas, spring break. And a couple of, do you recall those questions?
I do.
Okay. Do you recall how many or how much additional time you got on Halloween?
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think I gave him like a couple hours to take Sterling to something. I forgot.
Was it for a specific event though?
It was something specific, yes.
And
It was some trick-or-treating thing, I'm not sure.
but there was a plan
Yes,
and it was something that you talked about
yes,
and you had a start time and an end time?
yes.
Okay. And at Christmas, I believe the court actually made the record that it was something that was discussed in open court and it incorporated into an order?
Yeah.
Okay. And spring break, you and had a discussion on
Objection
outpost.
meeting.
I'm laying foundational questions, Your Honor.
Let me hear the question first, go ahead.
Okay, I just said on spring break, you had a discussion on outpost. That was as far as I got before there was an objection. Okay.
That's fine, it's foundation.
Thank you. So you had a discussion on outpost regarding spring break.
Yes,
Is that fair?
yes.
And in that discussion, what did you two discuss with respect to spring break on outpost?
He asked for more time, and I forget.
Okay. And do you recall how much time you can ask for?
It was 2.5 days.
And can tell you why he was asking for additional time?
He wanted some of the spring break holiday.
And was there an event or anything or just additional time?
He just wanted additional time.
Okay. And did you have any reason to say no?
Yeah, I have a million reasons, but again, I am trying to co-parent with a child sex offender, and I have to co-parent with this person. I have a million reasons why I can say no, or should say no, but I have to go parent with this person. That is my reality, so I didn't say no.
Was it easy for you to say yes?
No,
Did you want to say yes?
no,
Did you consider the upcoming trial when you said yes?
no. Should I have? No, I didn't. No.
Okay.
I'm just trying to do the right thing for my son.
Okay, council also asked you if you learned that he took any anger management classes, if that would alleviate some of your concerns with his road rage. Do you recall being asked about that?
Yes.
And then council also asked you if there was any domestic violence incidences during your marriage. Do you recall that?
Yes.
I believe you said no to the domestic violence.
Right, up until that last night, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
And just to make sure we have very clear testimony about what happened that night. He didn't put his hands around your neck, but
No.
we keep demonstrating. But there's at some point there may be a written transcript, so I want to make sure we have a very clear record. You keep putting your arm up to your neck, and you have your elbow in front of, like, under your chin.
Yeah.
So how would you describe that if you had to use your words?
Like a chokehold, kind of, like.
So was his arm around your neck?
Yeah, he had his whole arm.
Okay,
around my neck.
so
He
his
was behind
arm was
me,
wrapped.
and he had me like this, and my head was here.
Okay,
It
but
had
here,
movements.
words like here aren't going
Oh.
to translate onto paper. So
Oh.
if we had to describe this in words and read it, how would you describe
He was
that?
standing behind me. He had his arm around my neck, and he was pulling me backwards towards the bedroom.
Okay, and when you say his arm was around your neck, was his whole arm around you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And just to clarify, mom testified that mom and maternal grandmother and the child's were in that same room?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
She was gonna testify through it today, but
She's the one that's not here.
yeah,
In person.
she was on the Zoom, and we thought she could.
I understand.
Okay, so you also gave testimony that in December, went to California. Is that December of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. And you found out about it after the fact?
I found out while they were in California, because I called every day.
Okay.
And I could tell that they were, I forget what I heard. I heard something in the background. I think it was, I don't know if it was a seagull, I forget. I heard something and I was like, where are you? And he said, oh, we're at the beach. And I was like, Lake Mead? And he was like, no, we're at the beach. And I was like, oh, you're in California. And he said, yeah, I'm California.
Okay.
And that's when I texted on the works, app close, and I asked him where he was. And I was like, if you're going to take him out of state, you gotta let me know. Like, what if something happens?
And that was after October that was referencing in his testimony earlier. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then you mentioned that at some point recently they've gone camping. Do you know when that was?
Oh, I'm not sure. It was that long ago.
1 month, 2 months, 5 months?
No, maybe 2, but that's a guess. I'd say about 2.
Okay.
I don't know where they went.
Do you know who went?
I don't.
Okay.
I believe they've gone camping a couple of times, but that's from what telling me after the fact, so I'm not sure.
Okay. And so, as you sit here today, your understanding is from conversations you've had with him, the weekends that he's been with, and they've gone camping a couple of times, but didn't share this information with you.
Right.
Okay. And again, these are things that have occurred after the October benchmark that he talked about when he was giving his testimony. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. And you gave testimony about the relationship with your family kind of tapering off towards the end of your marriage. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And then counsel just asked you about your relationship with Nova.
Yes.
Was Nova here today?
yes,
And she was here to support you?
yes,
And two siblings squabble?
yes,
And you were able to resolve whatever minor.
yeah.
And I have no further questions.
Ms. Tajbakhsh, any questions?
Just one, Your Honor, well, maybe two. You stated that the night of the separation, where my client allegedly put his arm around your neck, that your mom was present in the room and she witnessed it? She never reported it to anybody?
To Detective Maria.
Okay, but didn't call the cops that night?
Nobody called the police on that.
Didn't take out of the room?
She grabbed and it happened so fast. And he actually, once I started freaking out, he let go fairly quickly.
Okay, so she did take
Not out of the room. It's a huge room. My kitchen, my living room, the hallway, the front door, and the dining room is all one room.
Okay.
She took him to the other side. She like took him away.
Okay.
But she was still in the same room.
But nobody ever called the police?
No.
Not that I,
Not
thank you,
that.
I pass witness.
All right, Your Honor, there's approximately an hour left in the day. I'm not been a great timekeeper. I won't be forthright with that, given the interruptions that we've had with this trial today. And I know we've been kind of pushing the financial issues. So I would submit to the court, do you want me to start the financial issues? Do we want to set this on a half-day setting for the financial issues?
Let me give you guys a total trial time right now. I've been keeping track of your time. Ms. Szyc, you have 75 minutes utilized, and Ms. Tajbakhsh, you're at 57 minutes utilized.
So, I mean, I think,
So we've had total trial time of 2 hours and 2 minutes.
okay.
Over 32. So I do want to be cognizant of time. We have another, probably, we won't go past 5, so we can take it at the very latest to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Which will give you guys, which will take us to total trial time of 4 hours and 2 minutes. We can set this for another half day. I can tell you right now, my half days are very scarce.
Sure.
And so, Ms. Tajbakhsh, I know you don't have any more witnesses, right?
No, and it would just be the parties for the financial issues. So
All right, and Ms. Tajbakhsh?
Your Honor, I'm appreciative of the court giving us additional time. Given the length of time this case has been open, given the length of time that, the financial issues have been going, I would just ask if we set another day that we at least set some kind of preliminary order so we can get this house listed or a move on the buyout of this house. We can reserve the amount. Just know that my client is going to need to get back in there, get it ready for either, it's not an appraisal, but get it ready for either selling or something like that. He is still making substantial payments of $6,000 a month, and has had to take several loans recently to get everything moving. So I would just ask for some kind of preliminary orders regarding that, or some kind of orders regarding vacating the marital residence, or with regard to the support, if we're going to be waiting for another day of trial.
Okay. So with regard to the property, the most urgent matter is whether or not we should get this, typically we do, we want to liquidate the property unless, of course, your client wants to refinance and buy him out.
that's not an option.
Okay, so then we do agree then that it would be frugal to go ahead and list that property so that we can prepare it for that to be liquidated and divided between the parties. Of course, any proceeds would be held in trust in either of the attorney's trust accounts until.
And Your Honor, my client is actually requesting to refi because of all the repairs in the house and stuff. We don't know how quickly it'll sell. He's requesting a refi. It's more just orders of. I don't want to keep pushing these temporary orders for $6,000 a month when my client's taken out 2 loans now to try and make sure she's, mom and the child are taken care of. His own residence is paid for.
My only concern with the refi, Your Honor, is that I think there's going to be substantial arguments with respect to the down payment that was made on this house with respect to a mom-quist calculation. Counsel and I are very far apart. Counsel believes that, and it's been put forth in the briefing, that the entire down payment is separate property. It's my position that that's not the case. So I don't know how we're going to get to a number as to what the refi should be.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can move forward today. I'm looking at the time and I don't know that we're gonna resolve all of the financial issues today.
Correct.
And so with that being the case, we're gonna have to come back on another date anyway. So is it prudent for us to start and then come back on a shorter setting or just push them all to a half day? And so I'm not trying to waste the court's time.
Sure, I understand. No, we're gonna have to set another half-day setting for us to address all of the financials, especially if we're gonna be looking at a Malmquist matter. I would agree though, at least for temporary orders, if he wants to begin the refi process, so that at least we can see what we're looking at, and the council, of course, you guys can meet and confer. If there are matters that require interim orders, in the meantime, we can always put a motion back on calendar and try to get back before in front of the court. But right now, a lot of it is speculation, because we don't know whether or not he'll be able to get a refi, whether or not he'll get a very good, what the market looks like.
And Your Honor, I think the biggest thing right now then is, and I absolutely respect that, and I understand the court's position on that, then I would just request that some kind of orders regarding mom getting out of the house happen. Again, my client's paying $6,000 a month. We're continuing this again, which is fine. I understand that. There was a lot of preliminary matters at the beginning, but it's been 14 months and my client's paid over $6,000 a month for over 12 months now for support. And I know mom will probably testify soon about, job opportunities and whatnot, but I can't in good faith sit here and say, yeah, let's continue this with my client still paying this enormous support obligation every month for all of the bills on the marital residence, his own bills. Again, he's taken out 2 loans, not, left mom harmless on them, but taking out 2 loans to try to continue on with this.
And my response to that, Your Honor, would be that there was at some point a proffer made, or at least I saw something that Mr. was paid in excess of $60,000 in attorney's fees. And as you mentioned earlier, this would be a sergeant case, and Ms. has paid $0. So we have $60,000 in community assets going to attorneys, and none on this side.
And Your Honor, that because she has the opportunity to have free attorneys, that my client shouldn't be.
Well, she's still, none of her attorneys I don't recall any motion for fees in this matter. I did recall motions for sanctions between both sides, but not attorney's fees for a sergeant case. Well, Ms. Tajbakhsh, if you're seeking for your client to have exclusive possession or for Ms. to vacate the resident the property, then that needs to be properly briefed before the court. I'm not going to make that decision today and have Ms. leave the property. That needs to be briefed so that way Ms. Szyc can have an opportunity to make any opposition there to if need be, or you guys can meet and confer. I'd also want maybe you can go ahead and begin the refi process, take a look at what it's going to cost, and then we can come back and talk numbers, even if it's on a temporary basis. And then that's when Ms. Szyc can go ahead and file her motion for attorney's fees if that's what she's seeking as well.
And Your Honor, when we had these settlement discussions almost over a month ago, Mom had agreed to move out. We were trying to get this resolved, and then all of a sudden we have no responses. I mean, I'm sorry, Your Honor, but this is a delay tactic, in my opinion, for my client to keep paying every month. It's $6,000 a month, Your Honor. My client regularly earns about $9,000 to $10,000 a month before taxes, and I'm not trying to throw her out. It's not that he necessarily needs to go into the house, but there needs to be some kind of modification. And I understand the briefing. I do. I understand the briefing, but that's even more in fees after today that my client's going to have to keep paying. I mean, today was supposed to be the end. You told us in court the other day you were not giving us more time.
Right.
So my client expected it to be the end.
This court has given as much time as it can, and I'm looking at the trial time, but much arguments have been made regarding the witnesses, regarding Ms. Kramer, regarding the pretrial memorandum, regarding setting this matter. And so we did start promptly at 9, and it's already almost 3 o'clock. We will go another 2 hours on this matter. I'd like to wrap up the custody piece before we, of course, switch gears even to giving you guys another date. Is there any more testimony on the custodial piece right now?
I have no further witnesses that I would call with respect to custody.
Okay, so you rest on
I rest on custody.
Okay, so now the last 2 hours go to Ms. Tajbakhsh.
Okay. Yes, I don't need Ms.
Yeah. So Mrs. Fessler, you may step in. Thank you. Okay, so we're at 75 minutes with Ms. Szyc and 57 minutes with Ms. Tajbakhsh that you guys have utilized.
Thank you.
Who's your next witness? Who's your first witness?
Your Honor, I'm going to go ahead and call my client.
Okay.
Remain standing and raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please stay and spell your name for the record. Thank you. You may be seated.
Alright, Mr. We already discussed a couple of preliminary matters when council questioned you. Where do you currently live?
The address?
Yes.
In Las Vegas, Nevada, 89120.
Okay, and who lives there with you?
Myself, my girlfriend, her 2 kids.
And does stay at that house?
The Friday through Monday.
Okay, you said your girlfriend lives there, what's her name? Okay, and, her 2 children, can you tell me their names and how old they are?
And Juan is 9, Juan is 19.
And they both live there full time?
Yes,
Okay. Does anybody else live in that house with you?
just this time.
Do you own that house or is it rented, leased,
It's a rent.
rental? And do you have a lease agreement?
Yes.
How much do you pay per month?
The house itself is $21.45 and plus utilities. So it roughly comes out to about, winter was harsh with the gas going up, but it's roughly about $3,000.
About 20, I'm sorry?
$28,000 to $3,000.
28 to 3,000. How much of that do you contribute to the home?
It's split 50-50.
And does Juan contribute anything?
He does not.
Do you purchase any food or anything for Juan?
No, I do not.
How many bedrooms does the house have?
4?
Okay. Can you tell me what space look like?
He has his own room. It's approximately 10 by 11, and his own closet. He's got a bunk bed for space saving, play area underneath the bunk bed, bed on top, a couple desks, toys.
And so it's his own space, correct?
Yes.
And you heard the statements about your marriage and when you were married, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you and started dating in 2016, correct?
Yes.
And you were married, 2015?
End of 2015.
End of 2015. You got married in August 2016,
Yes.
correct? Okay. How many children do you have?
One.
Is that just
Just through.
okay? Alright, tell me a little bit about what you and Stu do together during your time.
My mother, his grandmother, bought him a book to write out letters and sentences and words with a pen that erases, the ink erases after a while, so we can continue to do that over and over and over. He was super excited 2 weeks ago about learning about clocks and telling time. So one of his presents was a watch, so he can tell time. It's a digital watch, but him and I draw the circle with the arms and the numbers around it and do sort of math problems with the clocks. But most of the time we're playing art, clay, drawing. He's got a hoverboard. Last weekend the pool was decent, so we jumped in the pool for a little bit. Money's been extremely tight, so we haven't really gone out to do much lately. We did go camping with the grandparents a few weeks ago.
Slow down.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys do a lot of activities together, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does he have homework from school?
Not typically on the weekends. I can't say he had once.
Okay. Does he have you ever had to do homework with him since your time was expanded to include, an additional day after 3-day weekends?
Not for school, but
Okay.
we do our own.
You do your own? And is that what you were testifying with the pen and?
Yes.
Okay. And you do agree with Mom's testimony that he has no learning needs?
I don't believe he does.
Okay.
I'm sorry, with that, no,
That's correct. I do not believe he has any learning
I
needs.
didn't hear you, thank you.
Okay, so we discussed his grades a little bit in the parent portal during Mom's testimony. What is your understanding of how grades work?
He got a report card from the school, which I took a picture of, and I believe I sent it back home in the backpack, but there are letter grades. Yes, one or two of the classes have S's and E's, but most of them are labeled with letters and numbers and percentages.
Okay. And did you have access to his grades last semester?
Yeah.
Sorry, let me back up. Do you know if the school works on a semester or trimester basis?
So, from what I'm guessing, with being so young, they don't break it up into quarters with the kindergarten, first grade. I'm not sure about second grade, obviously, but previously watching grades, they broke it up into quarters. Just recently looking at it, it just has a start date to end date. I believe it's all just a cumulative.
Okay. So did you see his grades last semester?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall, at the end of the semester, do you recall what his grades were?
All I remember was that he had a D in reading.
D in reading? Do you remember what the, is this based on homework or is it based on participation?
I would assume both.
Okay. Did you have any kind of conversation with the school about his D in reading?
No, I did not. At that
Okay.
time, the TPO was still up, and I didn't have any contact with the school, so I sort of stayed away, unfortunately.
Okay, what did you do to improve that grade?
Like I said, we have been at home studying. Every time that we do something, even on his birthday, I help him read his cards that he got from people. He got an oven-baked a clay-baked oven, little miniature one for him, and before we opened it, what does this say, buddy? Clay, we read.
Okay.
We read everything together.
Okay, what are his grades right now?
If I recall correctly, they're all A's and B's.
Okay. And then you said the class that he has, the E and
I
I.
believe it's like a homeroom.
Okay, do you know what his grade is in that?
It's split up between a bunch of them. There was a bunch of S's and E's.
Okay, and what's his grade in reading right now?
If I recall correctly, it's either a high B or an A.
And the custody changed in October, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and from what you've observed, have his grades gotten better? Well, with setting aside just the reading grade, have his grades gotten better or have they stayed the same?
I think everything's improved.
Okay. Does do any extracurriculars in school?
Unfortunately, not being involved this year is heartbreaking, and I can't answer that. I know that he does or does not.
Okay. Have you asked if he does any extracurriculars? Okay. What has he expressed interest in doing in school, if anything?
Same as that he loves art. Loves art. It's his favorite thing. He does love math as well. It's all part of the learning. The learning the time is all numbers.
Okay.
He seems to like numbers a lot.
To your knowledge, how is attendance in school?
According to parent portal, he has 31 absences.
31 absences, is that for the year?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, how are their absences calculated? Like, is it a full day? Is there classes? Do they go to one class? How does it work?
They have multiple teachers that teach multiple different things, so it's kind of a culmination of classes.
Classes, okay.
It's not scheduled out like first period, second period. I don't believe. Could be wrong.
Okay, so there's a book in front of you. It says Defendant's Evidentiary Hearing Exhibits, a smaller one.
The green one?
No, it'd be the white one's the smaller version, the smaller one, the white one. Go ahead and please turn to exhibit marked Z. And let me know when you're there.
Okay.
Have you seen this before?
Yes, I just looked at it the other day.
What are we looking at here?
This shows attendance, absences, and tardies.
Okay, and is this, where is this provided from?
The school, parent portal.
Okay, did you take this picture?
I believe I did.
Alright, do you have any reason to believe that it's been altered since the last time you saw it?
No, but that number is not the same currently.
Okay, give me 1 second on that. Your Honor, I would move to admit exhibit Z.
Alright, any objection to exhibit Z?
No objection.
Okay. Exhibit Z, so then.
Okay, so it looks like it says homeroom 1 and homeroom 1 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Is that how his attendance always shows?
Yes.
Okay, and you see where it says that the dates 8/20 or 8/7 to 5/21?
Yes.
Alright, so this is current?
Yes.
Do you remember when you took this picture?
The date, no, I do not.
Okay, what, do you know what the number is? You stated that the number is different now, what is the number now?
When I looked the other day, it was 31.
Does the school have a policy for excused or unexcused absences?
I believe they do, but I don't think they enforce it in kindergarten, first grade. They rarely enforce it throughout.
Okay. And what's your understanding of why someone has so many absences?
There's a lot of texts to her, and every time I ask why he's absent, she says he's sick, or there's a doctor's appointment.
Okay, does he have any kind of chronic illness?
He does have, he was born with, I forget the exact name, but
Okay. Has that affected his ability to attend school?
it has in the past, and that's why I believe the doctor and the pediatrician prescribed to help with breathing issues when he had an attack.
Okay.
It mostly comes when he's sick.
Okay,
When he
so
has a
it,
fever, when he has something going on.
okay, so does this illness, it doesn't cause him to become sick, does it?
I don't believe so.
Okay, but is it exacerbated when he is
Yes.
sick? Okay. Has the school ever contacted you since the TPO was lifted? Has the school ever contacted you about his absences?
Since the TPO's been lifted?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Did they ever contact you while there was a TPO in place
Yes,
about his
they did.
absences?
Oh, about his absences?
Yes.
No, they did not.
But the school contacted you about while there was a TPO in place?
Yes, they did.
What did they contact you for?
He was sick one day, throwing up, and they could not get a hold of mother, so they called me. I had grandparents pick him up.
Okay, you stated they couldn't get a hold of mom. Were you able to get a hold of mom?
I can't honestly remember the exact text. I believe I texted her after I sent my parents to go immediately grab him and said my parents were picking him up, just so you know he's sick. I believe that's the only communication. She contacted my parents.
And there was no issues with the exchange happening after that?
I don't believe so. I was not involved in the exchange.
Okay. Was that the only time that ever happened?
Yes.
Okay. You heard mom's testimony about his medical or his vision needs, correct? He had one surgery so far, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, can you tell me your understanding of what his condition is?
It's essentially a more severe.
Okay.
He needs to, because so initially he was supposed to. Yes, he does.
Okay, does,
When he's at my house,
okay, and is that a recommendation by the doctor, or is that like is it, I don't know if prescription is the right word, but is that a directive from the
as far as I'm aware, that's a directive from the doctor. When told me the last visit was done, she said,
Okay. Does he need any more surgeries?
we're hoping not.
Okay. Did you attend that had?
I showed up, I was there super early. I showed up as well. We were told that only one parent could go in the back room, so once they were called and went in the back room, I left.
Okay. And then did you contact, did you talk to after the surgery?
Of course.
And were there any issues with that communication?
No.
You stated the child uses the, correct? And how often do you say that, would you say that he needs it when he's in your care?
I don't know if it's allergies or what it is, but it seems like every other week he has a little bit of breathing problems. In the middle of the night, I hear him coughing. I come into his room and he's sitting up, wheezing, coughing, and try to have his arms go up over his head, and when it doesn't clear itself for 3 or 4 minutes.
And is his medication prescribed?
By the pediatrician.
Okay. And how often do you get it filled?
I do not get it filled. Takes him to the pediatrician the last time she took him there as well, and I don't believe that prescription's been filled yet again.
Okay. And do you have
you speak up just a little?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Would you like me to repeat?
No, you're trailing off at the end.
Yeah, and try to, if you can slow down just a little bit, because I think your words are kind of starting to run together a little bit. Okay. So, you said there's the breathing treatments that are prescribed. How many comes in the prescription?
I do not know. Last time gave me half, and I
Okay.
do believe there's, correct me if I'm wrong, 6 for me, or maybe 8 for me, so either 12 or 16 in the package,
And do you have them as needed?
as needed, yes.
Okay. Are you able to go pick up the prescription yourself?
If the prescription was called into a pharmacy, I could go get it filled, yes.
Okay. Is there a season where Sterling's breathing issues become worse?
The times when I notice that it's worse, or have noticed, is when he's sick, is the main one, and when he plays really, really hard. He starts wheezing, breathing hard when he's running, playing super hard. But when he's playing and running super hard, usually when you just calm down and sit, it goes away.
You stated that the prescription hasn't been filled yet. Do you have some? Do you need it?
I have 1 vial left.
Okay. To your understanding, when was the prescription sent over?
Early March,
Okay, and have you asked about filling the prescription?
twice.
And what's the response been?
The first one, I just asked if he filled the prescription, the answer was no. The second time I let her know I think at that time I had 2 left, and she said she'll call someone, or I can't remember exactly what she said, I'll call, or have him call.
Okay. But you still don't have the prescription yet,
That's
correct?
correct.
Okay. Any additional special needs or any kind of extraordinary needs that maybe not diagnosed that the court should know about?
I don't believe so.
Do you feel that you and have a close relationship?
Incredibly.
Okay. How often do you talk to him?
Every day.
Do you text him?
I text him every morning at around 8:15 when he's driving to school, and tell him I love him, have a great day, and I call him not too early from after school, usually 5:36 to 7, sometime around there. Just try to say hi and how was the day.
And does he answer your phone calls?
9 times out of 10 he'll answer the phone call, but when he's busy playing games on the phone, he hits ignore.
Was removed from your care by CPS?
No.
Okay, and I'm sure you're aware of the CPS investigation.
Yes.
Were you cooperative with the CPS investigation?
Yes. In fact, I'm the one that forced them to talk to me. They never called me for an interview, and I asked why. And I said, I can come in today. Let me come in today. Why have you not called me? And they made an appointment for me today that I called.
Any other issues with CPS outside of the incident that's been discussed today?
Yes. Someone had called CPS on the current situation about me living with the children.
Okay, and what happened? Is that case open?
Couldn't tell you. She disappeared.
Who's she disappeared?
The CPS agent.
Have you tried contacting her?
No.
Okay. So, but there's been no reports or anything since the call, correct?
No, she came to the house, did an inspection, said she found nothing, and then texted and said, I need 2 people to talk to about your parenting. Called them, and we've heard nothing since.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
That was maybe late October, early November.
Oh, so it's been several months
Yeah.
since then. Okay. Any other issues with CPS?
Negative.
Okay, I'm gonna go into your terms of your probation, your criminal case a little bit. Were there any orders issued in the criminal case with regard to?
Just to follow the family court's orders.
Okay. And when there was a lot of back and forth about the term restrictions or following family court orders, to your understanding, do you have any restrictions with your biological children?
No, I do not.
Okay. You stated you lived with your girlfriends and her kids, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you said their names are and Juan?
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're boys?
Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship with them?
It's good. Juan is very reclusive. He's 19. He goes to work at 3 o'clock after school, but when he's done with work, he goes to his room, hangs out in his room. We very rarely see Juan. Alex is on his computer and always hanging around, playing, doing what we gotta do.
And our have a good
Yeah.
relationship?
Yes.
Okay. How do you and interact?
Just hi, mostly. Ask him if he's hungry, if he needs food. You know, he asks me for help when he needs to put a Roblox code on his computer, stuff like that.
Okay. Do you play games with when is over?
We all play games together, hide and seek. We play laser tag. We got laser tag for Christmas. Now clay modeling and painting. They draw a lot.
And are you, with the terms of your probation, are you allowed to be around, well,
Yes.
Juan's an adult, but around,
Yes, and that was specifically talked about.
okay. And do you know what the restriction is to other children under the age of 18?
Just supervision
Supervision?
with an adult that's not a sex offender
Okay.
or has that crime.
Okay, so, you heard Mom's testimony that you're not allowed to have birthday parties and stuff, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and is that true?
it is not.
Okay, can you tell me, let me back up a little bit. You're aware that a tier 3 sex offender, by definition, isn't allowed to be around other children?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me why you are allowed.
Why? I don't know. I know I asked the probation officer specifically in text as well. In regard to sex, I said, do I have the same conditions as far as bringing to school with as I do with sex? And he said, yes, you have no problem. Alex was specifically talked about by the judge. I couldn't answer you on why they've given me permission. I just know that I'm not excluded from minors or children. Just need supervision.
So, have you had a birthday party for,
Yes, on last Sunday.
were there other children there?
Yes, it was.
Okay, were there other adults there?
Yes, it was.
All right, and, were these adults family, friends?
Family, friend, both family and friends.
Okay, so they're kind of aware of your situation?
Yes, all of them are aware. I
Okay.
believe that is one of the stipulations as well, that they need to also know the situation.
Just like a full disclosure?
Yes.
Okay. All right, okay. You stated that, okay, so you said you've had 5 years of probation, correct?
Up to you.
Were you required as part of your criminal case to take any kind of assessment?
In order to be eligible for probation, I needed to come in as a low risk on a psychosexual evaluation.
And did you take a psychosexual
Yes, I
evaluation? And do you remember the results of that?
did. Low risk.
Okay. Do you have any kind of homosexual tendencies?
No.
Okay. Were there... I withdraw that. All right, let's go back to what's the schedule that you currently follow?
Friday pickup, Monday drop off.
How often?
First, second, fourth, and fifth weekend.
Okay.
And if there's a extended weekend, Friday or Monday, I also get that time, so it would be a Thursday pickup. Thursday pickup, Tuesday drop off.
Okay. When did prior to the overnights, did you have any kind of unsupervised visitation without overnights?
Yes, I believe the first order was, I can't remember, 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, Saturday and Sunday.
And then prior to that, what was the order?
Donna's house.
Okay, and do you remember how many days a week you did Donna's house?
2, Saturday, Sunday.
And at that time, were there any
Oh,
missed?
no, I apologize. It wasn't Saturday, Sunday. I don't remember the days.
That's okay.
Was it 3 days a week? It was a lot. It was 2 days a week, I think. I don't remember.
Did you ever miss any visits at Donna's house?
I did not.
Okay. Did mom ever miss any visits at Donna's house?
2, I believe.
Okay. Were you ever given makeup time for that?
One of them was given as a makeup time, yes.
Okay. When the criminal case was ongoing, how would you describe your co-parenting relationship with mom?
At the very beginning, when this all started, it was non-existent. Kind of rocky, to say the least, but non-existent. It slowly, every hearing that we had, it slowly grew and grew and grew. And
So, how was your communication with during the criminal case when it was ongoing?
unfortunately, my communication was very limited. When I had FaceTime only, I was limited to 4 calls because at that point, after 4 calls, I was blocked and no longer allowed to call myself.
And how long did you go without communication?
And the first time was a couple months. The second time was another month and a half before the next hearing.
And since the orders have been put in place for unsupervised visitation, you stated that the co-parenting has gotten better, correct?
I believe it has.
Okay. In your opinion, did you and mom have a lot of conflict while the criminal case was pending?
I wouldn't say conflict. I would say non-existent talking.
Okay. Do you feel that you and mom have a conflict in your communication now?
I personally do not. I'm sure everyone in the courtroom will see the texts. I feel like a couple things that she was talking about where she feels I was being aggressive. And just so everyone knows, I'm very calm. I'm trying to explain it over and over and over. That's why the texts are this long. I'm trying to explain it to a T on what it is for an hour and a half. And I said, okay, never mind. If you don't want the free pair of glasses, never mind. That's how I believe that's how I ended it.
So would you agree that you and mom just communicate differently?
Absolutely, everyone does.
Do you feel that your and mom's communication can improve for a benefit?
Everyone can always improve for their children.
Has mom provided you extra time since the order was entered in October for overnight visits?
Yes.
And would you agree that she provided you extra time over Halloween?
Yes. Not extra time, we changed the time.
Okay, so you changed the time?
Yes.
Okay. And then you did have some time over Christmas, that's correct?
Yes.
All right, and then over spring break, did you request additional time?
Yes, I requested Monday and Tuesday, and she even gave me Wednesday morning on her own accord.
Have you, let's talk about behavior. How would you say behavior was towards you when the Donna's house visits were in place?
The first Donna's house visit was extremely heartbreaking. I thought he would be excited to see me. He wasn't. He walked in extremely slow, had his head down, and told me he thought he'd never see me again. It took a lot of visits for him to finally start opening up, and our relationship started to blossom again. And it was really, really quickly turned away again when he missed his visit, and then blamed me the next day and said, "I'm sorry you couldn't be here." It took the whole time we were at Donna's house that Sunday to not talk about yesterday, the Saturday that was missed, but to play and for him to want to talk to me again. He really felt like I missed the visit. It was super sad. But Donna's house was rough. It's extremely rough.
Do you remember, I'm sorry, do you remember how long Donna's house lasted?
Oof. I can't remember. I think it was like 2.5, 3 months.
Okay. Okay, and then it was around, when the court told us about the timeline, it was around September where you had the daytime visits outside of Donna's house, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then in October you got the overnights, correct? How would you say, how would you describe his behavior towards you between October and December?
His attitude, his demeanor has changed a lot. I don't want to point blame at anyone, and I'm not pointing blame at anyone, but it's traumatizing for students happening. And all I know is that when he first got overnights, he would come to the house grumpy, angry if I told him no. If I told him no about a claw machine, the rest of the day was ruined. He would tell me
I'm sorry, hold slow down. Claw machine?
like a plushie claw machine, like it's Smith's.
Oh, like the ones that grab the toys? Okay.
He would go off on a tangent telling me I hate today, I hate my life. It was rough. I would have to literally take him to the side, away from sit him down in a shopping cart and have a 5-6 minute conversation with him about why would you hate today because you didn't get a plushie. That has completely changed since. We walk through places now and I tell him no and he says, okay, next time. But I think he's been traumatized a little bit. I mean, he felt like he lost me, he felt like our family got divided. I think it's normal.
So when you say that he would say things like, I hate today, how did you talk him through those issues?
Tell him, when I first got it, it was hard for me because I'd be a little angry, like I expect you to be happy when you finally get to see me, so I'm like, had to take a deep breath and talk to myself first, and then I'd go to him and I'd say, buddy, how can you hate today? We did this, we did this, we did this, we just got back from lunch where you wanted to go, we had crepes this morning, like, what do you mean, just because you don't have a plushie? And, it would be a long talk and he'd be like, okay, fine. But he'd still be upset he didn't get the plushie, but it would be hard talks, like, dude, you can't just hate today because you don't get a toy.
Did you find yourself having to discipline those first couple of months?
Never physically, but verbally, yes, absolutely.
How do you discipline him?
I've given him a few timeouts. He has also, at the very beginning, told me that sometimes I need a break from myself.
He said that to you?
And I said, if that's the case, let me know. You can go to your room, come out when you're done. And he invoked that one time. Spent about 15 minutes by himself.
Okay, and you stated that his behavior is significantly improved and he's gotten better. Now, since the beginning of this year until today, have you noticed a change? You've already said this. You said you noticed a change. Tell me how his behavior changed.
For instance, we were at the Desert Dogs last Friday, and we kind of all split up, all within this room, within each other, but we kind of split up a little bit to try to catch shirts at the end of the game. So my mom, my dad were down over here, kind of by you guys with I was over here. Marty and Tammy were up a little ways, and was also with I caught a shirt, and I immediately started walking over towards, and he sat down as I was walking to him across his arms. I said, what's wrong, buddy? And he's like, I really wanted to get a shirt. And I was like, well, guess what? You got one. He's super excited, and he immediately handed it. And I was like, what happened? We talked later. I said, what happened? He goes, well, I didn't want a shirt for me. I already have one. I said, I have one. I mean, and that's incredible for, at the time, 6-year-old. He's a good kid.
Have you noticed any kind of change between you and relationship in the last couple of months, as opposed to when the order was first put in place?
Yes.
With your how has it changed with your interactions with the two of you?
Much more affectionate, much more hugs, much more I love you daddies all throughout the day. And then when I tell him I love him back, he goes, I know you tell me all the time.
What steps have you taken to ensure that Sterling's emotional needs have been met during this last transitional year?
I'm just trying to be there for him. I'm not yelling when he does act out. That's why we just sit down and talk, because everyone has had a hard year, but he doesn't deserve anything but talks and love. And when he is down and sad, just a hug and hold. That's it.
What requests are you making with regard to the custodial schedule?
In my opinion, for the best situation of to not have to go back and forth 3 times during the week, 7 on and 7 off, would be my ideal, perfect world situation.
Okay. Is there any alternative schedule that you'd propose for joint custody?
I believe it's called 2255.
Okay. And what's your understanding of that schedule?
Each parent gets a designated 2, and then they swap the 5s,
Okay. And
so that each parent gets a week.
and is it in your opinion that this will serve the best interest?
I think having his mother and his father 50-50 will serve his best interest. And I think he's strong enough to overcome going to school with me and being picked up by mom. I don't think that'll be a problem in his learning.
How do you think your relationship would be impacted if the court does not award joint custody?
I think everyone, including him, would be devastated on my side. I don't think that he would cope very well.
And why do you say he would be devastated?
I mean, every father would like to think that their child loves them around the world, and I know that, like I said earlier, he loves his mother to the moon and back, and I would assume that I'm the same. And all I could do is hope that he needs me. I know I need him.
Are you currently in any therapy?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of therapy?
It's group sex talk. It's through probation.
And are you doing any kind of anger management therapy now?
Right this second, no.
Okay, have you done any anger management therapy in the past?
Yes, I have.
And when was that therapy done?
I want to say that was completed right around the time, just before when I met. It was when I got in an incident in 2014.
Now, would you be willing to do, you heard mom's concerns about your road rage and anger, correct?
Mhm.
Would you be willing to do more anger management therapy now to ensure that mom's concern is alleviated?
I want it to be known, I will do whatever it takes to make sure that everyone's concern is alleviated so that I can have time with my son and my son can have time with me and family.
You stated that as part of your probation, that you can't have any drugs and you can only have limited alcohol, correct?
Correct.
Do you drink at all?
I typically not with my stomach issue.
Okay, what stomach issues? When did this start?
February 2022.
And just briefly, if you could tell us, what does that cause?
Depending on the trigger, there's tons of triggers, but ulcers in your large intestine, and if they go untreated, they cause ulcers next to each other from the inflammation, and if it goes untreated, you could potentially lose your large intestine. Last year, it went untreated because insurance was not approving medication, and I ended up in the hospital needing a blood transfusion.
Okay. And was that the last time you had a flare-up with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are you doing right now to control the symptoms of this?
I'm on a better medication, one that should have been provided at the beginning. But I tend to stay away from dairy, try my best to stay away from dairy and lactose and certain foods.
Okay.
Try to stay away from stress, but it's,
All right. And you've testified that doesn't really have much homework on the weekends and stuff. Right now in his first grade, are you willing to do the homework with him during the week if you are awarded custody?
every day.
Do you enjoy doing homework and working with students?
Absolutely. I would do it now if they needed my help over the phone or over video call.
You heard the extensive testimony about your guns, correct?
Yes,
Okay. How many guns did you own?
I don't say
You owned 6?
yes.
Okay. And did you own a AR?
Yes, I did.
Okay, did you own a rifle?
Yes, I did a hunting rifle.
Okay, hunting rifle. What else what were the other 4?
2 shotguns, quote-unquote home defense shotgun,
Mm-hmm.
and a duck hunting shotgun.
Okay.
A really, really old, it's called a, I forget the name, it's a 22 long rifle.
Okay.
It was my grandfather's. And 2 handguns. What is that, 7? Maybe 7.
I think that's 7.
7.
Okay. You heard,
Well, technically I didn't own my grandpa's hand rifle, so 6
Okay.
I had 7.
but you had 7. Okay. And you heard Ms. Kramer's testimony that you took your guns out of your house prior to the TPO being filed, or
Yes.
being served, correct?
Yeah.
And is that accurate?
That's 100% accurate.
Okay, did you take all of your guns out of the house?
I took all of the guns out of the house along with all the boxes that were already pre-packed for me in the front room.
Okay, so you had pre-packed boxes in the front room that day?
Yes.
Okay, and where did you take those guns?
Initially, I took them to my father's property.
Okay, where are they now?
I have no idea.
Okay, are they at your father's property still?
They better not be because part of my condition was they can't be anywhere that I'm around.
Okay. When was the last time you saw your guns?
The day I brought them to my dad.
Okay. Did you have a gun safe in the Holmby residence? And were the guns kept in the gun safe?
Yes,
Did you keep a gun in your car?
always.
Did you have a lockbox in your car for the gun?
Either a center console lockbox or the glove compartment had a lock. Yes.
Okay. Do you still have the lockbox even though you don't have the guns?
No, I sold that with the truck.
You sold it with the truck?
Yeah.
Okay. What would happen if you're caught with a firearm?
I will be getting a minimum of 8 years in prison for violating parole, or probation, sorry.
And this is for the entirety of your probation, correct?
No, this would be for lifetime.
For lifetime? Okay, so you cannot possess guns at all.
Forever.
And you haven't had a gun in your possession or in your hand since February of 2023, correct?
Yes, that would have been February, I believe the 8th, because the next day I was arrested and, I don't remember the date, early February.
Okay. And I'm, gotta ask, does he have any guns?
Negative,
Juan doesn't have any guns?
negative.
You heard Mom's testimony about you being suicidal. Do you remember that?
I do remember her testimony.
Did you attempt to commit suicide in December of 2022?
Never,
Okay, did you ever tell Mom that, was there ever a conversation where you stated that you were going to kill yourself?
never,
Was there a conversation where you stated that you had a gun pointed at yourself?
never.
Okay. So, what do you think Mom's talking about?
The conversation that we had in front of the house, when I was begging to come back to the house, that is accurate.
This is prior to the separation, I'm sorry, prior to the separation, correct?
This was one of the 2 times I left.
Okay.
I can't remember. Every time I left, I had massive panic attacks about never seeing my son again. This would have been after Christmas, actually. Thanksgiving, I came back the next day and told her I was taking to the store to grab Rubbermaids, pack my stuff, and had a complete breakdown in Target. And I came back and I said, we have to work this out. The second time, we're sitting in the car coming back, and I begged her, we need to work this out. I'm terrified of losing my son. So we have to work out what we need to work out. We're married, we're supposed to love each other. And then I got an ultimatum telling me that by Friday things need to be better, and that was it. I said, we can't fix this in 5 days. And that was I stayed for the 2 months, got that ultimatum, so it's not progressing fast enough. And
But you never had a gun held to yourself? Okay. You heard the testimony that you've taken the child out of state without telling Mom, and that you resisted telling her who you were with. Do you remember when that out-of-state trip that she was referring to was?
it was early December. We left to go see my grandma for her birthday.
Okay.
We went to the beach first.
And did you tell her that you were going out of town?
I did not, and that was a mistake, not knowing how to co-parent.
Okay. Did you know you were required to tell her that you were taking him out of state?
I did not,
Okay.
and that was all discussed in court.
At what point in the trip did that conversation happen with?
The first day.
Okay.
I believe it was the 2nd, December 2nd. We went to the beach, we had fun. Mom called late afternoon, and like she said, she heard, you know, it's different than Vegas noise,
Right.
and looking at me, and I told her, "No, Mom, we're not hiding anything." So she said, "Okay," told her, "No problem." And she did text me, and I said, "We're at the beach, we're here for Grandma's birthday, blah, blah, blah." I believe she did ask me, "Where are you staying?" I didn't know at that point in time. We didn't find a hotel yet. She did ask me who slept in what bed, and I did tell her that her son slept in their bed and me slept in our bed.
Did you and Mom have communication during that trip after that point?
I believe so.
Okay. Was she able to get in contact with you if she had questions?
Yes.
And did you tell her when you were on the way back?
Yes. We were supposed to stay another night, and somebody came down with COVID at the house. I believe it was Josh, my cousin. So we only met my grandma outside in an outside environment and said hi, stayed an hour, and said bye. And we came home.
All right, and then you heard about the testimony regarding camping, correct? Or
Yes.
did you say, maybe you told me you went camping?
There's been a few people that have mentioned it today.
Okay, so you guys, when did you go camping?
It was a couple weeks ago, three weeks ago.
Where did you go camping?
Moapa,
And where is Moapa located?
45 minutes, 15 minutes.
And did you tell her about this trip?
I did not, it's still in Las Vegas territory.
Okay, and did you not tell her because, why didn't you tell her?
We don't tell each other everything when we're going to dinner or taking him out of the house. I didn't feel it was necessary. It was an Easter week. Oh, it was Easter weekend.
Okay.
It was Easter weekend camping trip.
And who all went camping?
Swan, my parents.
How did that trip go?
It was wonderful.
Enjoy the trip?
Yes, we went hiking. We went hiking all day until it was time to go on a ride with the Razor, and after the Razor, they continued to climb mountains or hills.
What activities do you participate in to relieve stress?
I've been doing breathing. I've really been trying to alleviate stress because of my condition. So I try not to get agitated. Sometimes people are human, they get agitated, but I do. I walk away, I sit down, I breathe for a little while, and I come back to the situation. I can't go through what I went through last year. Waking up at 6 in the morning, not being able to breathe. My lungs were shutting down, and that was stress induced. Also not having medication, but I can't do it again.
All right, do you have any mental health diagnoses?
No.
Okay, tell me a couple of your strengths as a parent.
One, I love my son more than life itself, and I protect him from anything and everything, just as mom would. I'm very patient with him lately. I know that in the past, yes, I haven't had a lot of patience. People grow, people change. So right now, one of my main strengths is being extremely patient with him, given the circumstances and given the fact that he needs patience.
What is one of your weaknesses as a parent?
I spoil too much. And I think that probably led to a lot of his spoiled and complaining and whining when he doesn't get the plushie from the claw machine. It's probably led to it because he thinks he can come to dad and dad's going to buy him a plushie. So I think that is one of my main weaknesses. He should be limited on just giving for no reason.
What is something that you see as a strength in mom's parenting?
Again, loves him forever. She's very, very stern. Doesn't put up with when I lived in the situation. Didn't put up with back talk at all. And was very, very, very on top of homework.
And what do you perceive as one of mom's weaknesses in parenting?
She doesn't like to have much affection. And that's with everyone. Is very smothering and in your face, and I'm sure she has, we have videos of him, especially a little bit younger, just on her face, just and she's like, stop. Like, but she's never been very affectionate. Let me rephrase. She loves him to death. She's very affectionate with him. He is somewhat over the top.
Oh.
And she can't handle that. I can't either.
Okay.
I can't either when he
So
gets
that's one
over
of your
the top.
weaknesses as
Yes,
well? Okay.
yes. And it's not a bad weakness. It's boundaries.
In your opinion, why do you feel that mom continues to co-parent well with you outside of court but then makes heinous statements in the court pleadings?
I think there's too many outside influences. I think too many people are telling her too many different things. I think if we could sit down in a room like we are today and have a discussion amongst ourselves, we would be able to work something out.
Your Honor, I pass it.